Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that silly info. If you're wondering why, it's because we're about to do this part of the packet, and it features none other than Plankton himself, so it only makes sense. And you know what happens when I get a little tired. I get a little loopy. So today we're going to focus on the Kansas and Nebraska Act, which hopefully you watched the other videos and you already took the notes and you already know that this is the law that broke the country in two, really separated North from South, slaveholders and slave keepers versus abolitionists and people who wanted to get rid of slavery. This is the law that really kind of broke the country. So we're going to focus on the 2 pages in your packet that were not in your pet packet, but are about the Kansas and Nebraska Act. These 2 pages we're going to read together, and then I'm going to leave you to do the questions on your own to prove that you're actually learning. So starting out with the Kansas and Nebraska Act looks like that. We're going to start at the top. So the issue of slavery increased sectionalism in America. Sectionalism is when people who are more loyal to their region or area than they are to their nation as a whole. During the 1800s, the 2 sections in America that disagree were the North and the South. And then it goes ahead and asks you, what is sectionalism? Next paragraph. Because of manifest destiny, which is the desire to expand the U.S. from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean, that thinking that they have the right, that these settlers are allowed and supposed to move west. The United States got a lot of new land. Think of Louisiana Purchase, all those acres of land to now explore and move on to. Some land they bought from France, from Louisiana Purchase. Other areas of land they won in the war with Mexico, such as Texas and California. Either way, the U.S. government had to decide what to do with this new land. One main issue then that the North and South fought over was if slavery should be allowed in this land out west. Question is, how does the U.S. get more land in the 1800s? Next time we move to Missouri Compromise, which we talked about before we had left for spring break. The Missouri Compromise in 1820 helped deal with the issue of slavery in the West. The compromise stated that Missouri would be a slave state, Maine would be a free state, and slavery would not be allowed above the 36th-degree line of latitude. This gave the North and South peace for a while, but soon an Illinois senator named Stephen Douglas decided to change the Missouri Compromise. He divided territory out west into 2 main parts, Kansas and Nebraska. Douglas thought it was a better idea to let people living in Kansas vote in order to decide if slavery should be legal. He called this the Kansas and Nebraska Act, and it passed through Congress. But Kansas is above the 36th latitude line. This territory was supposed to be always free soil. No slavery was ever supposed to exist. So you have your 3 points. What did the Missouri Compromise say? Who's Stephen Douglas? The Kansas-Nebraska Act made Northerners very angry. Why would it make Northerners angry? So moving on, Kansas is a territory surrounded on many sides by slave states. When people living in these slave states heard that Kansas would be having a vote to see if slavery would be allowed, many of them rushed over the Kansas border to vote, literally running over the border to vote. No one checked to see if these border ruffians were actually Kansas residents. Other pro-slavery people from slave states came to Kansas and stayed. This resulted in Kansas having a lot of pro-slave residents. Kansas residents who were against slavery refused to be a part of pro-slavery government in Kansas. They separated themselves and formed their own government. So now you have 2 sets of government in one state. Both sides got weapons and violence started one day when pro-slavery groups attacked the town of Lawrence, Kansas. So you have 2 questions. I want to check my timer. Oh, I got 26 seconds. So you have, what did anti-slavery people do when they did not want to be a part of Kansas's pro-slavery government? And what did pro-slavery groups do to start violence in Kansas? I'm going to pause there. I only got 10 seconds. I'll see you in the next video when we go ahead and complete this. And here's Plankton.
I